Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank, and Smart, bringing people together.
Live from the GBM studios in Belize City, it's Open Your Eyes. Start your morning right with your hosts, Sabrina Daly and Isani Caetano.
Good morning and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I'm Sabrina Daly.
And I'm Isani Caetano. Good morning.
And good morning, Isani. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Wow.
Yeah.
Now it feels like we're in March for real.
For reals, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday was such an odd day. I found myself feeling very Tuesday, because it was me and Paul on in the morning on a Monday, and then just the rest of the day just felt very Tuesday. But now that we're here and it's me and you, it feels very Wednesday.
Wow. All
But
right.
how you doing?
Man, I'm good.
Yeah.
There's nothing like waking up in the morning and the sun is already rising.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
For the past couple of months, because of what we would describe as like the Christmas season, January, February, the
cold
sun,
front.
the sun takes a lot longer to rise, right?
Yeah.
But no, when I was leaving this morning, it's like broad daylight outside.
Yeah, it feels kind of like at least springish, right?
Yeah, and then, it's that time of year,
Yeah.
right? The 9th of March, whatever we call it.
I know, and that holiday is actually coming up too, and I didn't even realize.
Yes, but yes. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a long weekend,
yeah.
which is also a good thing that I'm looking forward to.
Well, I am going to say a special good morning to our TikTok fans currently tuned in right now. You guys would know that we have our TikTok social media pages, and I do have to sign off from this at this time, but I also invite you guys to head over to our Facebook and YouTube pages. Bye. So yeah, it's a beautiful Tuesday morning here in the old capital, and as Isani mentioned, it feels very, Marchish. We also have the long weekend approaching as well, and I'm looking forward to that, an opportunity to rest, and of course,
Rest? Rest?
Rest. Pond.
Though it's not, the route of Maya is going to pass through Boom over the weekend. You talk about rest?
You walk like that, me the paddle, Isani. What?
No, but you're supposed to be part of the spectatorship. You're supposed to have a party at your house and have your friends and family over because they're going to be out there this weekend watching the race.
That
or at
sounds
least
like
that leg of
something
it.
you would do, not me.
Man.
Look.
You have to entertain the folks, man.
My agenda and my type of entertainment might be different, but I'm still entertained. We will be entertained. Is that a sweet me? But yeah, I know that that's also a big deal this weekend. And you're right, they do pass through Borough Boom, so I'll definitely be seeing a lot of people on the road. And I might pop in. and go say, who make it to the finish
Why
line.
not sound like you're being disingenuous? You know you're not going to go watch a thing. But hey, with all the controversies surrounding it, I think it's going to be one to watch.
For
just
sure.
Just to see how it ends and just to see how things develop on the water.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
If not anytime before now, at least now.
For sure. And you know what? You're right. I think maybe the reason why I'm not always so excited about going is because it's passed through my community every single year, and I've lived in Boom, so maybe that's why. But let me jump into the conversations that we have lined up, because I'm actually really looking forward to each and every one of them today. We're going to start off our conversation with the Belize Forest Department speaking out on illegal parrot ownership. And then after that, tracking household spending trends with SIB. And so this one, I definitely want you guys to lock in on and share your thoughts. When you think most of your money to go in terms of spending, we're going to find out in that conversation. And then the Belize Raptor Center breaks the poison cycle. And then after all of that, we're going to cool things down with some coffee with Amour Café. They're talking eat, sip, and gather. I'm definitely excited about that too.
Nice. So, that being said, let's jump into the 5 things then, and then we can have a brief conversation, right?
All right.
So, here are the 5 things you guys need to know before you leave your house this morning. Belize's new bus company debuts, but not everyone is on board. We're talking about the National Bus Company, right? And yesterday, 2 exciting events took place in the morning. We had the primary school parade kicking off the Child Stimulation Month. And of course, we had the Women's March. It's the first women's law enforcement march, and it drew 650 officers in uniform, right? And then, this is an important one as well. So there has been word, there's going to be a town hall tonight actually, but there has been word that 3 main bridges are going to be cut off from Belize City in the coming weeks because we're going to be undergoing some major infrastructure projects, right?
Yeah.
And last but certainly not least, and it's the one that I'm going to start talking about first,
Okay.
the 4th day of the Middle East War, which now includes Beirut, Lebanon. All right, so let's start there, right? So on the global stage, we saw Israel and the United States attack Iran over the weekend, right? And what is interesting in all of this, at least from the American perspective, this would be the second world leader within the span of 2 months that the United States have removed from power. First one was Nicolas Maduro,
Venezuela.
right, in Venezuela. The second was Ayatollah Ali Khamenei of Iran. He's a supreme spiritual leader, right? He's the head of the country, basically. But he's dead, along with several others, up to 40 other military leaders and government high-level officials in Iran.
Notably, though, he's the only one that was actually killed.
No, he along with several others
Yes.
is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Up to about 40 of them.
But I'm speaking from Venezuela and Iran's
Oh, yes,
side,
yes, certainly. So, yeah, so what has ensued is what I would describe as chaos in the Middle East. And the Middle East, that part of the world has always been a hotbed for all kinds of conflicts, right? So what is taking place now is that Israel has set its sight on Beirut. Beirut is the capital of Lebanon, right? And Lebanon and Hezbollah go together. It's described or has been classified as a terrorist organization. And it has close ties to Iran, right? So that is what is taking place. And you have all of these other countries, including Qatar, Dubai,
Jordan,
and other surrounding countries in the Middle East, that the United States has its military bases and what have you. And so in striking back, Iran is now also taking aim at these countries, right? And I was doing some reading, and 2 things came to mind immediately. When Russia invaded the Ukraine, there was an immediate hike in the cost of gas in that part of the world, right? This time around, all eyes are on what's going to take place with oil, right? Because Iran controls 1/5 of the world's oil production, right? And the Strait of Hormuz is that channel through which these vessels pass through and provide oil to places like Japan, to China, and all these other countries in the East. So we're watching that closely. Now, the other one is that when the United States went for Maduro, subsequently it turned out to be about oil.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's what I was going to bring up. It kind of shows a strange coincidence, you know, sort of striking these.
I wouldn't say coincidence, you know, because nothing is by happenstance or chance, right? Everything is carefully calculated and planned and then executed.
It literally reeks of just attempts to control, you know, to control this large resource that's needed to have a territory, a nation be alive, to function.
Good. So that can be argued, and I take that.
Yeah.
But you're also looking at a situation in Iran where thousands, up to 20,000, I believe, men, women, and children had been killed recently based on the uprising that was taking place there, right? And you have to understand that Iran is not like your average country that functions under a democracy. In this case, it's a theocracy, right? Where the spiritual leader is pretty much the head of state or
The
head of
supreme
government.
leader, really.
Right? Yeah, so he's the one who oversees everything with regard to the affairs of that country. And you have people who are very much supporters of that political ideology, and you have people who are against it because they see how oppressive it is,
Yeah.
right? So it's sort of torn down the middle, right?
Some people called him an evil person.
Good, there you go. But here's the thing. In the United States, in the wake of these attacks recently, you've had protests popping up in places like Chicago, New York, and elsewhere, where people are saying, and Americans for that matter, are saying, leave Iran alone, no war in Iran, right? So it goes to show you that at least stateside, you have mixed opinions on what is taking place on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
Right? And like I said, everybody is watching, right? These are developments that, for the most part, keep us glued to our televisions in terms of what's going to happen next and who's going to be involved and so on and so forth.
You know, one of the big question and reaction that people are having is the idea that there could possibly be World War III. Do we see that as a possibility?
I don't know that it's going to stretch to that.
Yeah.
You never know, but I'm not,
But have you been seeing that reaction as well?
Well, it's the same thing that was, I've heard this idea and this talk of World War III every time there's a conflict,
Yeah.
right? But my opinion, and it's not rooted in any factor expertise, is that it will take a lot for, countries to come together and decide that they're going to go at war with each other.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening anytime soon, but who am I to say?
Yeah.
Right?
What I'm really glad, though, is that you mentioned, you identified that whenever conflicts like this take place, whenever wars take place, there are other implications aside from people being
Yeah.
hurt and killed.
You have
when we look at our
displacement.
economy,
Yeah.
that's one of the big ones. And you would remember that when Ukraine was in the heat of what was taking place there, that also impacted us as well. We heard the Prime Minister talk about inflation
Yeah.
as a result of wars taking place. Could this potentially impact us as well here in Belize?
Well, that's the ripple effect, right? But I think one of the primary impact, if I could describe it as such, is the mass displacement of people.
Absolutely.
Right? Because you're basically forced to flee your country to avoid human casualty when they're bombing and they're just killing people wholesale, so to
Yeah.
speak, right? But we gotta move on.
We do.
Right? We gotta bring things home. So over the weekend, the NBC kicked off, right? The National Bus Company. And it's off to a sort of rocky start, right? But some would say, it's par for the course. You have growing pains.
Yeah.
Nothing ever come easy and smooth and fluid the way how we would want it to be. So yesterday we spoke with the Minister of Transport, and he was basically saying, well, look, man, we wanted it to be as smooth
Or
as
perfect.
possible.
Yeah.
But, all things considered, they're never that bad. However, out west, you had some people who were waiting for a bus that never really arrived.
Yeah.
Right? And because of that, a lot of men may late for go to work or school or their daily commute, wherever that takes them. And so these are some of the areas that the ministry now, under this whole umbrella of the National Bus Company, have to seek to fine-tune. Because at the end of the day, Sam, we keep saying, this is all about commuter satisfaction. We say
Yeah.
customer satisfaction. But these are people who are traveling using public transport, right?
I also think about the reliance that people have on these certain bus times as well.
Yeah.
For example, people that might have been waiting on that particular bus in the west, maybe they showed up to work late, or maybe they missed a class that they weren't able to get at school. I think of even my own self. What prompted me to have to get my own personal vehicle was because of buses as well. I used to catch the bus all the time. But if your bus is just a little bit late, that's the difference between you showing up to work on time or showing up on air on time. And when you have a system like this, whether you're running a company privately or in the case of the NBC, it's important that these times are kept the way that they should. And in the start, I guess we can understand the growing pains of it.
It'll be ironed out sooner or later, I hope. And
but I just wanted to speak to that commuter experience and people that really rely on that
and
time.
I'm using that now to segue into our third topic, right?
Let's go.
In the next few weeks, we're going to be seeing 3 main bridges cut off in and around the Belize City area, right? So we have Swing Bridge, we have Belcan Bridge, and then we have the Burden Canal Bridge. Which means then that your commute into the city, or for those of us who are already in Belize City, we have to find another route.
Yeah.
Right? Because these bridges are undergoing, I wouldn't even say renovation. They're tearing them down and building new bridges because they've, sort of run their course.
But did we have to do it simultaneously? I think is my question.
Well, it has to be done at some point.
Yeah,
I think the rationale from the MIDH is, look, let's do the project and get it out of the way once and for all. And there are certain inconveniences, yes, I know. I might have to go all the way through Bell China, right? Some people might have to take the Chatham Street, or some people might have to take the John Smith. Hey, the point is the work needs to get done. And the administration is taking it upon itself to get it done.
You know what, Isani? I could just see the Facebook posts.
Yeah, but you have to take the good and the bad, man. Yeah. We can't want progress if we don't want to take all the inconvenience in the process of getting there, right?
Sincere question. Do we have to do all 3 at the same time?
Well, we'll leave that for Julius Espat and Evandale Moody, right? But the money is there, the time is now, and it will get done in the weeks ahead. Well, at least the preparatory work will start taking place
We
soon.
will all stay at the office, bring our lunch, and we will avoid that traffic jam. But let's move things along because definitely there were activities on the road yesterday. Just beautiful displays.
Parades. So before we get to the kids, let's talk about the women, right?
Didn't that give you goosebumps, Isani?
Yeah, well, I think it would have been a different experience for me had I seen it in person, right? But we're in Women's Month. And this is the first time that the police department has joined forces with the Coast Guard and the Belize Defense Force. And we're talking about women in uniform taking to the streets of Belize City, right? So this is what you're seeing, right? And all women, so much respect to them, right? And I hope that they're able to use this month to tackle issues that are affecting them, not only in the professional space, but in the domestic life and what have you as well. Right?
650 women are on display.
I think they could have more, but I don't know if that's the totality of them all. I don't know.
Isani, I think that was a lot of women. And I was so impressed. I was not able to see it in person either, but what I saw on screen just gave me goosebumps because it shows that there is representation. I saw this on screen, this particular shot right there with that lady, that Mayan lady, and that also moved me as well because it really shows that there are women of all cultures that are in these security forces as well. And that for me sends a strong message. I'm so excited when I'm able to, and when we are able to talk about these women rising up in the ranks as well. I remember when we had Miss Alma Pinello on set with us talking about her achievement and what a big deal that is. And so in the month of March, we better talk about it. And I'm hoping that, this could be an annual March event. So I have to say kudos to the organizers who put this together. Such a beautiful display yesterday.
And finally, the kids, right?
The kids.
So at the same time when you have the BDF, the Coast Guard, and the police women out there doing their thing, you had this group of kids as well who are out there, but kids emulate what they see, right? So while they're perhaps dozens of years away from realizing who or what they want to be later on in life, they're seeing us as doctors, they're seeing us as teachers, they're seeing us as professionals. And I'll use myself, right, as an example. To my son, I'm his superhero, right? So you also have kids who are out there yesterday who dressed up as superheroes because that's what they're also seeing,
Yeah.
right? The beauty of it is, though, is that it's a moment for parents and kids to bond, right? And it's a moment for them, along with their teachers as well, to show that education starts from an early age of to stimulate the kids so that they could realize who or what they want to be, as I was saying earlier.
Yeah,
right?
I also love that some of the parents even dressed up with the kids
Mm-hmm.
too. I saw it looked like a parents dressing up as nurses even.
Yeah.
This,
I
I
did
live
this-
for this. It's not even, I love this. I mean,
I did this walk, wow, a
maybe like
couple years ago.
3 years
2
ago?
or 3 years ago, and my
What
son,
did your son go as?
he went as a doctor,
Okay, nice.
right?
Yeah.
And
I
yes, it's
love
one
it.
of those bonding things, but yeah, his son with a bile though.
But you know
It is what
what?
it
You
is, right?
push through. But I love it. That for me right there. I mean, I can't take it. I cannot. My niece went as a doctor as well.
Mm-hmm.
Her year probably like 2 years ago. But I saw some other really cute stuff because aside from dressing as professionals, they would also dress as other things too. So
Yeah.
I saw Jamal Gavez's daughter go as the mahogany tree.
Nice.
I saw a kid dressed as Marisha Peppa. Oh my gosh!
Well.
In my year, I'm gonna take a Marisha Pisani. That I could get behind.
I can't reason with dressing up as a pepper, but yes, I get it.
But it was lovely, and I have to say, I'm excited for parents. I know this is a cool experience even for them too, and these kids, they will remember that. But we do
Yeah.
have to wrap things up on this particular topic. We want to thank you for engaging with us online. I saw Sonia Singh say, doing it all at the same time is totally crazy, and I know exactly what she's talking about. The
respect to that.
bridges.
Respect to that.
All right, but we do have to jump into our weather update. This is our Eye on the Weather, brought to you by the National Meteorological Service.
All right, so we'll be returning with the weather elsewhere in our show this morning. But first, we got to take a quick commercial break. And when we return, it's our initial conversation. It's all about the Forest Department speaking about illegal parrot ownership. Stick around for that conversation.
The future is calling. Belize Bank. Your future, our commitment.
When the job demands more, Milwaukee Power Tools are designed to handle the toughest jobs on the construction site. If it's speed, durability, and performance you need, Milwaukee is the perfect choice. For unstoppable power at an unbeatable price, make it Milwaukee. Nothing but heavy duty. Available at Benny's. Quality and savings.
The NEBL is blazing hot and it's only week 3. And we have another set of marquee matchups this weekend. On Friday night, the Belmopan Trojans try to defend the capital city against the big bad Belize City Defenders at the UB Gymnasium, 8 p.m. Then on Saturday night, the red hot Orange Walk Running Rebels takes on the sharp shooting Kaya Western Ballers at the Orange Walk Sporting Complex at 8 p.m. And in Dangriga, the Dream Ballers host their first home game against the Warriors from the North, the Corazal Spartans at 8 p.m. Giveaways at all games at the end of the first and third quarter. Plus, the big halftime $5,000 cash Ministry of Tourism, Youth, Sports and Diaspora Relations Shooting Challenge. The NEBL Girls plus more. So this weekend, make it a NEBL weekend. Sponsored by the Government of Belize.
Buenas noches, Belize. Esto es el Noticiero 5 Semanal. Soy Francela Hermoso.
Esto es el Noticiero 5 Semanal. Soy Benita Queme Palacio.
Y estos son los titulares.
Esto ha sido todo por el Noticiero 5 Semanal.
Acompáñanos nuevamente el próximo jueves a las 7 p.m.
Y síguenos en nuestras redes sociales para estar al tanto de todas las noticias en español.
And welcome back. As mentioned earlier, our first conversation this morning is with our friends from the Belize Forest Department. They're here to talk to us about illegal parrot ownership in Belize. Joining us this morning is Forest Officer Victoria Che. Good morning.
Good morning.
And accompanying her is Nikki Buxton. She's the director of the Belize Bird Rescue.
Good morning.
Ladies, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I have a few basic questions I want to get out of the way right away, right?
Okay.
So, I grew up with a lot of family and friends who own parrots, right? And you know, you have a parrot in a cage, and as a child, you go to the parrot and the parrot repeats what you say, and it's a fascinating experience, right? But as an adult, I'm learning that you're not supposed to keep parrots. Is that correct? Are we there with that?
Yes.
Okay. Let's begin with the basic reason why.
Okay, so we have 9 species of parrots. All of them are protected. Some have a higher level because they're critically endangered, or they're endangered here. And so that's one of the reasons we shouldn't have parrots. For scarlet macaws, we keep saying we only have a population of about 300. For yellowheads, we don't have an exact figure, but
12 to 1600.
so 12 to 1600 for the population. It might sound like a lot, but like you rightly said, if everybody in Belize owns a parrot, or you have half of the population owning a parrot, then your population obviously goes down. And so that's one of the reasons why you should not have one. Also, because they actually belong in the wild, and it's, you clearly said, it's fascinating to have a parrot in cages, but most of the time we don't take care of them.
Yeah.
And so most of the time they don't survive. And so next year, let's say you get one this year, it might not survive. You will feed it, you give it the wrong food.
The nuts, give it some peanuts.
You give them peanuts, you give them takis.
Yeah.
You give them chicken sausage, you give them all types of stuff. They don't make it for the first year. Then the following year, you see people selling again, you go and buy another one. And so that goes depleting our populations. And so that's one of the major reasons why we shouldn't have them, because honestly, we can't take care of them.
Yeah. You know, I love that you opened it in that way, speaking personally to your experience, Isani, because that's the reality. I remember my first close-up experience with a parrot. It was in a cage too, you know, seeing it owned by someone and being completely fascinated by it. Of course, there are other people who would collect different types of birds as well. But in general, I think we should be speaking about the types of lives that these animals are designed to live and the reason why they should be roaming freely, aside from being endangered as well. When we look at Belize's situation when it comes to protecting birds, what are policies in place to ensure that they are protected and that persons have to meet that need or meet that standard? I know there is a manual that comes out annually. Can we talk about that?
Okay, so you rightly said again, all birds in Belize are protected by law. So all birds. I like to go and do presentations, and the first thing I say is all birds are protected by law. So people would raise their hand and would say, how about the jankro? I keep telling them, is a jankro...
We need to get protected from jankro.
Yes, but I ask them this question, is a jankro a bird? Yes. So what did I just say? All birds are protected by law. And so that's basic. All birds are protected by law in the country. When it comes to parrots, and I will bring it back to what Sani asked. Back in 2014, we actually started this initiative where we started to ask the public to come in and register their parrots. This is since 2014. And we set a deadline. I think we set for this 2016, we said you have 2 years to come in and register your parrots, and so you can legally get, because it's illegal to own one. But we're trying to legalize it because we know a lot of people do have them as well. And yes, some don't take care of them, but then some of them do take care of them and their companions. And so we said, okay, let's do that. We can't confiscate all of them. We were trying to confiscate all of them, but we hit a wall. And we said we can't confiscate all of them. So let's start a program where we can register them. And so since 2014, we've had this program to come in, and register. But we've been moving that deadline over and over and over for quite some years. And I will say maybe it's because the Forest Department didn't have the measures to actually do the implementation. We couldn't do all the inspections. We didn't have a proper database where we could have all these applications and know who is applying, on what stage you are. And I think we've upped our game since 2014. We've compiled all the applications we have so far. We know who's pending, who has a parrot, who doesn't have a parrot, and so that's the stage we are in right now. So what we're doing with it is that we're advising the public, if you have a parrot, come into the office, try to make it legal. Come in, apply. That's the first step. Come in, apply. After you apply, we will do an inspection, and I think Nikki will speak about it, because during the inspection and with the manual, it will tell you what cage size based on species. What species you have, you need to have this cage size, and it goes back to diet, what you feed them. And the manual is very important, because if you go through the manual, you will see that it's a guide for enforcement officers, but also for the Forest Department. That will tell you if a bird, what are the signals or what are the warning signs to see if a bird is actually sick, if there's a young parrot. Obviously, people say when it don't have feathers, that one chick, but it's not only that. You can see them based on the eyes, some of the feathering, the coloring. You will know, even when they're sick, you will know. If you see a yellow parrot that should be green, obviously it's sick, they have poor diet. And so that's one of the reasons why we came up with that manual, because that manual will help, especially enforcement officers, to know if a parrot needs help. They obviously can't speak and tell you I'm sick, but based on this manual, you can go through the manual, you will see these early signs, and you can get the parrot the help that they need.
Let's go to Nikki for a second here and talk about parrots from a bird rescue perspective, in terms of perhaps getting a call to go and inspect a premises where you have a bird that's in distress or being neglected or what have you.
We actually are not part of the enforcement agency.
Okay.
That belongs to the forest department. But we often get calls from people who say, I would like some help, I'd like some advice, I'd like somebody to come and tell me what I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing right, how I can improve things.
Yeah.
Or they say, we don't want this bird to be in captivity anymore, we want him to have a better future, we want him to go back in the wild, what can you do to help? So that's kind of our role alongside the forest department, to give them a mechanism for confiscation and a mechanism for surrender and a happy ending for the bird.
Do you guys have...
How do you rewild a bird that's been in captivity for basically all its life?
It takes a while. Basically, we have giant enclosures and we build flocks of parrots of their own species, and we gradually introduce these birds who've probably never seen a member of their own species before, and introduce them to these flocks. They become part of the flock, part of the family, and then after a series of maybe between 2 and 5 years, we can release them. It does take a long time, especially if they're talking and they've had poor feather and poor diets.
Yeah. I have in my hand here the Forest Department's Inspection Manual 2025, and it's very, very interesting just seeing the different types of parrots that exist here in Belize, the assessment checklist, as you mentioned, the health and confiscation guide. What I'm curious to know is, do you guys collect any kind of data on perhaps owners, registered owners of parrots in certain parts of the country, like seeing maybe what district has more owners of parrots, and what types of parrots are people actually owning more than others as well?
Yes, and that's the reason I had said that we didn't have that back in 2014, but now we do have that data. So the districts that have that have the most parrots in captivity would be Belize District and Orange Walk District.
Really?
So those are the districts that have the most applications, and most people want the yellowhead parrots.
I was just about to
So
ask.
most people, their thing is the yellowhead parrots, because again, they believe they attack, but they don't attack, they mimic.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the species that people target every year.
Yeah.
And so that, and I think the blue mealy also does some mimicking, and so and they grow bigger than the normal than the other parrots, so they want a big parrot that can speak, and so that's what they go after. They don't really want the small little ones.
I know the conversation today, we want to specifically focus on the registration period and the time that people should be registering their birds, but I want to look really quickly at health and confiscation, and just by observation, when you should know that you should take your bird in, or when it should be confiscated. It says here handling. If the bird is not hand tame, it should be confiscated immediately. Now, hand tame means it allows calm handling without distress or injury. Do you guys find commonly that there are birds acting aggressively because of perhaps not being taken care of properly?
Yes, we do have a lot of cases that people say, and like again, if you want a parrot, you want it as companion, or you want it to feel like it's a part of your family, then you should be able to at least hold this parrot. But sometimes you can't hold them, you can't touch them, you can't do anything with them. They're literally just in their cage and they've never been touched. They've never been handled. And when you get close to them, they become a little aggressive and they want to attack.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you have kids around, all kids will come, and if you have an aggressive parrot, the first thing is that they feel they need to hit the cage to it so that they can calm down the parrot. That's not.
That's true.
You're aggravating it.
You're aggravating it. You're abusing it. That in that sense. So that's one of the things that we ask, that you can be able to take your parrot, handle it, and show us that you actually have a connection with this parrot.
There's also a point here, parrots under 12 months old. So you shouldn't have a parrot younger than a year.
Yes.
No baby parrot.
No
babies.
No chicks. No chicks.
Obvious visible injuries. That one I think is plain. There's also severe feather or skin problems, serious hygiene or nutrition issues. Now this is specific: poop on feathers, caked under tail, extremely thin, or even overweight. So you can overfeed your parrot as well.
Let's step back just for a second and talk about the diet of a parrot. So a lot of us would probably have a parrot at home in a cage. What do we feed them? Because you mentioned earlier, we're going to fire with the takis and the chicken sausage thing. So
but that happened for true?
I'm not saying no. What do they ideally eat once they would be out in the wild?
They would forage throughout the forest for whatever fruits and seeds, berries, flowers, nuts. Even chewing leaves and bark gives them nutrition. Whatever is in season, they will travel and find the appropriate diet in the wild. We at Belize Bird Rescue, we can't completely replicate that diet because we can't fly from tree to tree and bring them back what they need. So we give them a variety of fruits and vegetables, chopped vegetables, any fruit that's in season. Bananas and papaya are a standard as well. And we also cook beans for them because that has a high protein without being overloaded with the fat. Sunflower seeds and peanuts are the one thing that people tend to feed their parrots a lot of here. And it's very, very high in fat. And when you have a bird that's in a cage and not flying, particularly if somebody's clipped their wings and they can't even flap or move around or anything, then they're going to get overweight. They're going to have heart problems, the same as any human. Heart disease and strokes and things like that. Parrots get all that too.
Wow.
We're seeing on screen there, is that a bird with clipped wings?
Yes.
Are there penalties involved for something like that? I mean, I can't imagine you having a bird and you know, stopping them from doing what they're designed to do.
That tends to be the first thing people do, is take off the wing feathers so that they can't fly. They're not actually damaging the wing themselves, they're just cutting the feathers, well, hopefully. And they do regrow eventually, but it takes a year or two for them to come back completely. But yeah, it's the first thing people do because they don't want them to fly away.
That is so insane. What are the penalties like for persons who might be owning these birds without the proper permits, or even owning these birds and not taking care of them?
Okay, so we're trying right now not to actually scare people and say this is the penalty. We're trying to encourage them to come in and apply first. But we normally, if we were to charge a person the penalty because it's possession and you shouldn't have it in your possession any at all, then the penalties goes up to $10,000.
Wow.
So hence the reason we're trying to encourage people to come in and apply, as opposed to tell them the penalty is $10,000. It's up to $10,000. But that's the penalty. If you are found in possession and if you have a parrot that is severely damaged in the sense that it has psychological effects and
just unkept.
Yes, you can be charged that.
Wow. Even if you have the permit as well?
Even if you have the permit, because even one of the permit conditions, it says that we can and we will do routine checkups every so often so that we know that the parrots are still in healthy conditions, because it doesn't mean, and one thing that is important, that in the conditions of the permit, it also says that yes, you have a permission to keep the parrots, but it still belongs to the government of Belize because it's still one of our birds. So it's not solely yours, it still belongs to the government of Belize. I'm not sure if Nikki put a picture of it, but I always tell people, and I always take this picture, well, I normally take it out when I do outreach, and it's a picture of the pink parrot.
I did.
I'm not sure if she did put
it has
a picture.
been on screen, actually.
But there's a pink parrot.
Okay.
And that pink parrot, when we first went to confiscate it, when I told the officer we need to go and confiscate this parrot, he thought it was most people thought it was a new species of parrots, and it was a different species. It's not. It is a yellowhead parrot that eventually turned pink.
Why and how?
Why,
that is bad nutrition. It's basically, I don't know if you've ever had an indoor plant that turns yellow.
Yes.
If it doesn't have the right light and the nutrients, then the pigment comes out of the leaves. And it's the same thing with the feathers. The feathers are a real indicator of health in a bird. Much like we have the ridges on our nails if we're sick. You can see the diet. You can see if they've had too high a fat diet, because the feathers actually look oily. And if they haven't had the right nutrition, all the color comes out of the feathers.
Okay, so I'm looking at enforcement at the end of this period, right? So right now, anyone can come in and go through the process of registering their birds, making sure that they're in compliance, right? But beyond this particular period, you go into full law enforcement,
yes,
so
then
to
we
speak.
go. Yes, then we go into full law enforcement mode, and so hence the reason we're giving them the opportunity to come in. The deadline is the 31st of March. We've been hearing it to come in and apply. We haven't gotten that much applications. We haven't gotten that much
Which is
applications.
not good.
Which is either not good or maybe it's good, meaning that most people have already submitted an application. We will hope. And if that, well, then it's not good, because then once you pass that deadline, we're not going to accept any more applications.
Yeah.
We're actually making modifications to our actual legislation so that when the enforcement comes to that, it will be, the penalties will be higher than that $10,000.
Wow.
And we will be taking other measures. Hence the reason we're giving them this opportunity to come in and apply. And we set the deadline for the 31st of March because we want to avoid the new chick season.
Okay.
And we were trying to avoid that people go and poach these parrots, because we always talk about Guatemalans coming and poaching our scarlet
Belizeans do
macaws,
it too.
but our Belizeans do it too as well. We had one right in front of Galen University, borrowing a ladder from the university so that they can poach the parrot in the tree that's right within the university compound.
But I have a question regarding that, though, because if a person, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, how do you go about acquiring a parrot? If it's illegal to own, do you have to have a permit to sell parrots as well then? How does that work?
Because you can't, and you shouldn't sell it.
So how do they get it?
Exactly. So people poach them and go and sell them.
But
yes, that's exactly it.
It kind of puts you in a pickle then, as in the forest department, because we're not promoting poaching, but we know that people are still poaching, and so they're still going to own it somewhere or another. So it's like, well, if you're going to own it, at least have a permit so we could know that you own it and we know where you live so we could monitor you. Is that what's taking place?
Well, that's what we're trying to do now, and hence the reason I said in 2014 we said no more.
Yeah.
It's closed. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna stop this poaching because it's too much. But I will say we dropped the ball, that we didn't have our act together when we started to do that. We didn't know the magnitude of work that we would get when we did that. Now we do know what it takes, and we know how long an inspection will take. We know how many applications we have, so now we know that. And so we have our act together, so we can do better. But again, we are trying to avoid that. We don't want to people continue. Some people genuinely do get these because maybe they fall a tree. The trees they didn't know that there are chicks inside. They fall, and some do report it, and some do hand it over, but some no. Some do keep it. And so it's not all of them that are poached intentionally, if you want to say, and not all of them are being sold, because some again fire. Due to fire, some are rescued due to fire as well. And so these are some of the things that are done. Sometimes we want to say that people have good intentions, that they see people selling them, and they say, well, instead of somebody else getting it, I will get it because I might be able to take care of it. Some have good intentions, some do relinquish it, but not all of them.
I have a question coming from a viewer here, and then I have to wrap things up after that. But there's a commenter saying, there's a woodpecker tearing up the woodwork around the roof of my workplace. We've tried physical metal deterrents, but still the problem persists. What can we do about that? I don't want the workmen to end up hurting the bird.
It's a problem. It's one of my biggest calls, that one and pigeons. If that caller would like to contact me directly, I can probably walk them through. I'd have to see the situation and see how that they could put some deterrents in place that might work. I have actually trained the woodpeckers around my house.
Ooh, can you tell me that? Because I have them too.
I used a trigger bottle of water and yelled at them, and it took me 2 days, and eventually it just needed the trigger bottle, and then I could yell from where I was sitting, and now they've stopped.
Okay, so what I want to do then is still share your number with this commenter online, or any number that we can reach out to you guys by to get further
Speaking
information.
of which, there is a hotline, right?
Yes, we do have a hotline for the Forest Department. It's 610-1524. You can reach us. That's for any illegal matter. It's not only wildlife, but it's any illegal forest related matter. You can call it. It's 24/7. It's confidential. It has WhatsApp on it as well. So 610-1524. Even for the viewers that are seeing and want to apply, they can reach out to us through that number. We can send them the application. They can submit back that application through WhatsApp. So we don't have to do all the paperwork and emails and we take forever. Through WhatsApp, you request the application, I send it, you send it back.
All right. Well, ladies, this has been a wonderful conversation. I definitely learned some stuff. And the work that you guys are doing are very important. And so we wish you guys all the best. Remember the date, the end of March. And after that, you would literally be owning a parrot illegally. Don't do that. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, the next conversation is tracking household spending trends with SIB.
Full-Tech Systems understand that technology isn't just a tool, it's a game changer. At home, smart devices and AI are revolutionizing daily life. In education, tech is making learning more interactive and accessible for students and educators alike. For businesses and government, it's driving innovation, streamlining operations, and unlocking growth, leveraging tech for better services, infrastructure, and security. At Full-Tech Systems, we help you thrive with cutting-edge solutions, partnering with leaders like Dell, HP, Microsoft, APC, Fortinet, Cisco, and Tomy Inc. We deliver the right products for your needs, whether it's boosting efficiency, improving customer engagement, or scaling operations. Connect with us and let's drive innovation together. Full-Tech Systems, your technology center, where you come for the price, but stay for the service.
$183,000. That's what Glenfield Dennison's company, Dennison Consulting Limited, is charging just for his legal advice to former workers of BTL to collect their severance compensation, which BTL had already agreed to pay the former workers. And guess who he wants to pay his hefty legal fees? The same BTL which he accuses of wasting money on lawyers.
You know, I say how much they had to pay the lawyers there.
Bear in mind Dennison is already being paid lucratively by taxpayers as a crown counsel and a senator. If he so believes in fighting for former BTL workers, why doesn't he do it for free? Why does he want BTL, which is also owned by the people of Belize, to pay his company a whopping $183,000 for it?
But I think that forgive some attorney in this country a big money.
Buenas noches, Belize. Esto es el Noticiero 5 Semanal. Soy Francela Hermoso.
Esto es el Noticiero 5 Semanal. Soy Benita Queme Palacio.
Y estos son los titulares.
Esto ha sido todo por el Noticiero 5 Semanal.
Acompáñanos nuevamente el próximo jueves a las 7 p.m.
Y síguenos en nuestras redes sociales para estar al tanto de todas las noticias en español.
Haven't updated your information recently? Well, kick off the new year as a winner. RF&G Insurance is giving you a free chance to win every month. Entering is easy. Just chat with us on WhatsApp and update your information. That's it. You'll be automatically entered into our monthly raffle for a chance to win awesome prizes. Don't wait. Message us on WhatsApp and update your info today. RF&G Insurance. It pays to get it right.
Welcome back. This is our second conversation, and it's all about tracking household spending with the Statistical Institute of Belize. Now, I want to inform you guys that this is a very important survey. They are going to be starting on Saturday. It's called the Household Budget Survey, for short, HBS. And there's going to be some visitors stopping at your homes, knocking and asking for information, and they really want your honesty. And perhaps after that, then we can actually have the assessment of how we are really spending our monies. So to guide us through this conversation, we have representatives of the Statistical Institute of Belize. Joining us is Christian Oriana. He's the manager of Census Surveys and Administrative Statistics Department. We also have here with us Melvin Perez. He's a statistician too, representing the Economics Statistics Department. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
So I know the work that you guys do, I imagine it's very technical, a lot of data collection. It's very time consuming as well, but important.
Yes.
And so we're really grateful that you guys are taking the time to have us understand a little bit more about the HBS and what that will entail in terms of people stopping at our homes, asking questions. Perhaps we can begin with an overview of what it is. I sort of gave you guys an idea, but to hear from your technical roles and what that involves. What's the HBS?
Right. Good morning. Good morning, Belize. As what you mentioned, well, you have said it very, very perfect. EHBS is just basically, it captures data of the household, the spending patterns, right? And as what the name suggests, budget, right? Most households will have a budget in terms of a monthly budget, how much they will be spending on food, how much they will be spending on transportation. So basically, the whole objective of this survey is just to capture the spending pattern of the household.
Yeah.
Right? And it's very important, like what you mentioned, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
When the interview go to your house, you know, and they ask you the different questions from the different sections, for you to be honest in terms of how much do you spend on the different sections, right? Because this is very important. Why? From the information collected from this survey is what we use to update our basket, right?
Okay.
And the basket is what we use to calculate the inflation rate for the country of Belize, right? So the basket contains the goods and services. Now, in 2008, just to give you a little history, right? In 2008, we had a household expenditure survey, and the information that was collected in that survey, we had CDs, MP3s, which are items that, you know, at that time was very popular.
We don't have that anymore.
Now in 2018, we did a household budget survey, and the information that was captured, CDs were no longer in use, MP3s were no longer in use, and this is one of the benefits, right, and importance for us to do this survey every 5 years, actually, right? Because the spending pattern of the household keep changing over time. Items that might no longer exist, there's new items coming on board, and also services, right? So for now, one of the main things that we want to monitor, which we have seen, is, for example, clothing, in terms of used clothing. Right? Right now, as in our basket, we don't capture used clothing.
What do you mean by used clothing? Like purchasing used clothes?
Yeah,
okay, so like thrifting, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So there's an entire industry.
It's an entire industry. You have a lot of outlets out there, online businesses coming, right? So that is something that we want to monitor for this EHBS, which we asked the household, did you purchase pants? Was it new or used? Right, and that's how we get this information in order for us to see what we need to price, so that the inflation rate, when we report it, it's representative to the household, what they have answered on this household budget survey.
So, in many households, you have what you would call recurrent expenditure when it comes to certain things like food, right?
Yes.
Utilities, those don't go away. You have to spend a certain amount every week, every 2 weeks, so on and so forth, right? Would you be looking at any other expenses aside from clothing, for instance?
Yes, we also be looking at health, We have a section for health, transportation, non-durable goods, right? It does capture
comprehensive,
very comprehensive of what the household would spend, and also in terms of reference period, in terms of the food, right? It's for the past 7 days. Non-durables is for the past 30 days. So depending on the item that we see that, okay, in terms of non-durable goods, household will purchase those items like once a month or maybe twice a month, right? So even on transportation, for example, purchase of a vehicle, it will be for the past 12 months, more or less, right? So yeah, we do have a very, very comprehensive list in terms of the questions.
I just want to clarify something really quickly. So is this survey done every 5 years then? So the last one would have been 2021?
Yes, it is recommended to be done every 5 years, right?
Yeah.
But then again, it comes with the manpower of the institute, also financial.
Yeah.
So there's
when was
a lot
our
of
last one?
Sorry?
When was our last one?
2018.
2018.
2018 to 2019, yeah.
So here's my question then, right? Because I think that many of us perhaps are a bit reluctant to participate in surveys and what have you. So I could sort of foresee it being a bit of a challenge going door to door asking people, what are you spending your money on in your household budget? Do you find that Belizeans are receptive to this kind of thing?
Yes. Before we execute this survey, we have a pilot, right?
Okay.
Which we visit some households and we administered the survey. What we found out is that some households, they hide, right, from us. So when we are at the door and saying good morning, and no one's come out.
Yeah.
Right? No one come out. And sometimes they tell their children to go tell them that I'm not here or I'm at the shop or something. Right? So in some areas, yes, we do that. We do have that difficulty. So what we do is that we reschedule. Right? So if we don't find them, then we have to visit them again. Now I can say that on urban areas though, it's more harder than villages because urban areas I'll say that they work right from 8 to 5. So we have to schedule ourselves to visit these houses in the cities and towns after 5, right? And then they
you know what I think? Somewhere in the back of my mind tell me that people believe that their expenses are to be held privately, right? So people are reluctant. So if you ask me, okay, hey, Sana, what do you spend most of your money on a monthly basis? My initial reaction would be, well, you know that for.
Correct.
That to me is private information, right?
Yes.
Not only that though, because Christian, you opened the conversation by talking about budgeting, but if we're being honest, a lot of us aren't even budgeting properly. And so we find ourselves living paycheck to paycheck and feeling like the monies that we work and we earn is not enough. And so sharing that with someone that's collecting this information is almost embarrassing to even admit. Sharing the fact that, you're spending money. Some people even embarrassed to say that they thrift, and I don't know why, because I love thrifting. But I really want to talk about that. The training that people would get, that your workers would get to go and carry out these data collection processes, because that is also important. You spoke about the last survey being done in 2018, one, because it's expensive, and two, it's time consuming, trying to navigate, getting to these households, people being willing to actually share the information. But you have to, I imagine, train additional people aside from who actually work at SIB on a regular Monday to Friday, 8 to 5, right?
Yes.
Talk about the training that's involved.
So, yes, as you rightly mentioned, we're doing training. We're on the last week of training. So this survey is a big survey. So it's a 3 weeks training where we hire temporary staff, interviewers, field supervisors, and they come for a 3 weeks training. So in that training, we train them on what they need to learn. Understand what is the question, what the question is asking, be able to navigate the questionnaire on the tablet, because we use tablet to collect the data, and also for them to know how to navigate with the households, how to approach the households, to be able to convince them to participate. Because as you guys were talking, You know, people are sometimes they don't want to participate, but this survey is very important because at the end of the day, the main objective of this survey is for us to update the basket of goods and services.
Yeah.
And that basket will represent the goods and services that the Belizean household spends. So without them, we cannot update the basket.
Yeah.
So that's why they are very important for us, for them to participate.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, right? As small as Belize is, and as small as our population is, relatively speaking, to be able to cover this country in its entire breadth,
yeah,
that's a lot of work still.
Yes.
You're talking Corozal to Punta Gorda.
Yeah.
You're talking the Keys. You're talking east to west as well, and everything under. How difficult is that in terms of the human resources that you put to go out there in the field?
So it's through a census where we have the opportunity to visit every household. So from the census, we're able to get the list of all the households in the country. So between the census, we do what we call surveys. Like in this time, we're going to do the household budget survey. So we do a sample, a subset.
You're doing samples.
So
Okay,
in this
gotcha.
case, we're sampling 3,040 households, which will be divided into 4 because data collection will happen in 4 different times of the year to capture seasonality. So those 3,040 households is divided across the districts. So like the Belize district will have most of the households because it's the district that has the highest population. And then each district will have one team that will be in charge to visit all the households in that district.
All right.
How do you go about dividing or subdividing really the parts of the district though? Because I imagine budgeting might look different or the spending habits might look different for different parts of the district, for even the city area, you know, where certain types of economic living might, you know, be better than others.
Yes. So for that, those are the questions that we as statisticians ask ourselves. Okay, we want for the data to be representative country. And then we also want for it to be representative by the district. And it's those 2 levels that we're able to produce the data to be representative. More lower, we can do that, but it's more costly. It's just through a census. So, okay, we want to present the data by the district, and that's we're able to come up with a size that will be able to say, okay, it's representative. And for that, there is a formula.
What do you say to people, just as Isani was asking, that might be concerned about sharing their personal spending habits with these data collectors? You know, they might feel like Melvin the Kona might do know he know that, you know, things are kind of tight wrong. What do you say to people that actually feel that way?
The first thing that we do is, first of all, interviewers, they'll have an ID, SIB ID, they'll have a shirt with the SIB logo, and when they introduce themselves, they say, we are from the Statistical Institute of Belize, and all the data that we collect from you is strictly confidential.
Okay.
It will not be shared with nobody else. Secondly, they sign an oath of secrecy, which they are binded. And then at the end of the day, from this data that I'm collecting from you, is simply to produce the basket. It's not to share your information. No, it's for us to be
So they won't know your name?
No.
Or your address?
No. That's just for us. We get the information at the household level just for us to be able to collect and then get an average. Okay, this is the basket that the Belizean households are spending. At no point we will be sharing individual data. No. So like that, sorry.
On a quarterly basis, SIB releases the CPI, right?
Monthly.
Monthly. Well, I'm talking for us in the media. We get it every 3 months. We get a full report, right?
Okay.
But yes, so the CPI, which is a consumer price index, looks at various trends in terms of what we're also purchasing and consuming. How does something like this tie into the household budget survey?
Okay. Well, again, right, like what we mentioned before, the household budget survey, in this case, the relationship between the CPI and this survey is just to update the basket, right?
Okay.
Right now, as when we publish our consumer price index, is basically using the 2018 basket that was generated from the household budget survey at that time. Now, as we were mentioning, from 2018 to to now,
2020.
2026, there's a lot of changes in terms of the spending patterns, new items on the market, new services that the household now are using, which back then maybe they didn't look, or they were not using it because it was not important for them at that time. So the linking is updating the basket now so that it could be more representative to the household when we publish the CPI.
You used an example previously, right? Where you are looking at CDs and MP3s. Perhaps now you're looking at subscriptions, right?
That's right.
Because people have moved away from physical form to now
streaming,
having a monthly subscription for a streamer.
Yes.
Talk a bit about that.
Yes. So we do have that in terms of what is Netflix. Also, the cable companies here in Belize, they also have now the online subscription. So that is being added now to the questionnaire. Right. We still ask the cable service, like the normal cable service, but we have added new services such as what you just mentioned, the subscription. Also, in terms of storage subscription for iPhones, right? The iCloud. So there are a lot of online services that now we will be asking the household, and again, it all boils down to the household to participate. And I want to stress this out, right? That if your household is selected to be part of the survey, because at the end of the day, the result is for them. Because when we publish when we publish the inflation rate, it will be representative to that household if they do participate in this questionnaire. Right?
Yeah, and as you said, it would be representative to that household. However, the household would not be identified specifically. No. Your personal information wouldn't be out there. I love that we were looking at some of the common questions that they would hear. Are there other perhaps newer questions that they can expect and perhaps wouldn't be taken off guard by, that they would hear?
So just in summary, we'll have 3 main questionnaires.
Okay.
We have the household questionnaire where we will be capturing data of where the household spends at the household level. For example, utilities as an example. So anything that you can think that the household spends at the household level will be in that questionnaire. Then we have the individual questionnaire, which will be for every person that is 14 years and over, and in there we will capture expenditure at the individual level.
You said 14?
14 and over.
Okay.
So for each 14 and over that's in the household, there will be a questionnaire for him or her.
What would you ask someone that's 14?
Well, it's across. If you are from 14 and over, all the questions applies to you.
Okay, so what are some of the questions that they would be
So
getting?
for example, we'll be asking on clothing, footwear, if they spend at restaurants and all of that. And then we have the last questionnaire, which is the diary. The diary is a questionnaire that will be left at the household. So we will explain to the household from the first time we visit the household, okay, this is a questionnaire that we need your assistance to fill it in daily, just on food, non-alcoholic and alcoholic beverages. So I left the questionnaire to you today. At the end of the day, okay, I buy tomatoes, I buy eggs, and they will be recording it. Tomorrow, at the end of the day, they will do the same thing. They will be doing that for 7 days. Because as we rightly mentioned before, food and non-alcoholic, they will purchase it more on a daily basis. So the reference period is 7 days.
All right. Well, gentlemen, as you mentioned, this starts on Saturday. We did also mention that it's a very time-consuming survey process. How long will we be expecting this to be carried out for?
So data collection starts on Saturday, and it will last from 4 to 5 weeks, depending on the district. So this is round 1. And then we will be out again in June, in September, and in December.
Alrighty.
So that we are able to capture what the household spent during Christmas, what the household spent during back to school, so that the basket will be representative on a year.
All right. Well, gentlemen, we want to thank you for having this conversation with us. I know it's going to be quite a busy season for you guys, especially with this project in particular, but we thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, we take another quick break, but don't go anywhere. Our next conversation is the Belize Raptor Center, breaking the poison cycle.
a postpaid plan for 3 people. Introducing Smart Trio. Why pay for mobile service alone when you can share and save? Get unlimited national calls, texts, plus 100 gigabytes of shared data. And the best part? It's only $135. That's right, as low as $45 per person. Perfect for small families, couples, or close friends. Smart Trio. 3 lines, 1 smart choice. Sign up now and you could win a Trio getaway to San Pedro for 3. Visit us at www.smart-bz.com for more information or sign up at any showroom today. Smart, bringing people together.
Festival come to this very nation.
In Isaiah 30:29 it says, and you will sing as on the night you celebrate a holy festival, and your hearts will rejoice. The body of Christ will unite, and many hearts will rejoice on Saturday, March 7, 2026 at the Belize Civic Center, beginning at 6 p.m. as a Heavenly's Productions brings to you Jesus Festival.
Jesus Festival. Yeah, Jesus.
Featuring the hottest gospel artist coming out of the Bahamas, Sherwin Gardner.
So I say, with all of my heart and all of my soul, I worship you, O Jah. Tell them that the praises never stop. All I want to do is give you the highest praise.
Also showcasing one of the biggest gospel artists from out of Trinidad and Tobago, Positive, dropping his hit tunes.
Rolling in my 2-man army, my Jesus and I wanna sing out some sweet gospel reggae. Blessing after blessing, and nothing can hold it back.
And then it's the return of the biggest gospel band in Belize, Heavenly.
I'm gonna be heavenly's for life, serving Jesus Christ.
From Atlanta, Georgia, USA, the daughter of the world-famous televangelist Creflo Dollar, none other than Jordan Dollar, with her hit song. Also highlighting Genesis 501 from Capital City, Belmopan. Blind Sight, Genesis Gospel Band from Sugar City, Orange Walk, Reality Youth, Pastor Herman Belize and the Kings Park Prince team, Pastor Frederick Gordon and Garin Carvalho and his GCO group. Remember, Jesus Festival.
Jesus Festival, yeah, Jesus. Rocking on the world, I said Jesus.
Taking place Saturday, March 7, Belize Civic Center from 6 p.m. until. Bring out the entire family for a time of praising God and witnessing souls being saved and lives being recommitted to God. For tickets, call 615-4766. That's 615-4766. Sponsors, Angela's Press, Racina's Imports, Cellular World, Love FM, More FM, Quem Radio, Vibes Radio, Plus TV, Channel 7, Channel 5, and Wave Radio. Come on out and be blessed.
Jesus Festival, yeah, Jesus.
Every great job starts at Brothers Habet, with the best supplies and the right support, including free delivery on site, so you can focus on the job. Brothers Habet, working with contractors since 1983.
$183,000. That's what Glenfield Denison's company, Denison Consulting Limited, is charging just for his legal advice to former workers of BTL to collect their severance compensation, which BTL had already agreed to pay the former workers. And guess who he wants to pay his hefty legal fees? The same BTL which he accuses of wasting money on lawyers.
You know, I say how much they had to pay the lawyers there.
Bear in mind, Denison is already being paid lucratively by taxpayers as a crown counsel and a senator. If he so believes in fighting for former BTL workers, Why doesn't he do it for free? Why does he want BTL, which is also owned by the people of Belize, to pay his company a whopping $183,000 for it?
But I think that forgive some attorney in this country have big money.
Ma, that's me. My data and I really need to get my ARA out today.
Really? Well, you can join our smart group plan.
Really? How that work?
Easy, let me tell you.
Whether it's family, friends, or your small business, we've got the perfect plan for every group. More members equals more savings, more connections. Smart group plans bring the connectivity you love to you and your circle. No one gets left behind. Explore Share One package option and add on unlimited data, calls, and SMS for the entire group for less than $50 per member. Visit any smart showroom countrywide or email sales@speednet-wireless.com to sign up today. Smart, bringing people together.
And welcome back. Our next conversation is all about birds once again. This time we're talking about raptors. I have been joined in studio by Sarah Mann. She is the founding member of the Belize Raptor Center.
Correct.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning,
All
Sarah.
right.
I'm good. So we're talking about poisoning and dealing with this issue of bird eradication in that manner. Let's start there. What have you been seeing and perhaps what are the patterns or the trends here in Belize where that is concerned?
Okay, because at the Raptor Center, we do a lot of rehab, right? Rescue, rehab, release. In the last 3 to 5 years, we've seen an increase in birds that are actually coming in with the inability to clot. So their blood's not clotting when we're doing, blood draws or placing catheters. And so that means that the birds have been eating anticoagulants. So that's like your common rat poisons. So yeah, we are seeing it being affected in raptors, but also it affects all wildlife. So in the wild, everything does eat rats, right? So your foxes, your grison, down south coyotes, jaguarundis, ocelots.
So for the purpose of our viewers, Sarah, explain to them what types of birds are raptors? What species of birds include raptors?
Raptors are, it means rapture, which means to seize, grab, and to carry off. So anything that hunts with its feet. This is a really good example right here. Put it up. This is our little portable barn owl. So owls, hawks, eagles, falcons, vultures, all of those are raptors, so birds of prey.
So we find that perhaps in certain parts of the country, people try to, deal with pests. You describe them as such, right? So we use pesticides like rat poison and stuff like that.
Yes.
How does that then translate from what we're doing at home to these particular animals?
Okay. For example, let's bring up a really common one that I always, when I do my booths and stuff, I always talk to people like, what do you use at home? And they say Ramic. Ramic tends to be a really popular rodenticide. The thing is, though, is Ramic is a first generation. So unfortunately, first generation anticoagulants, so say we see a rat in our house, right? And the first thing, that's Ramic right on the screen. The first thing we do is we go, oh no, let's buy poison, right? Instead of figuring out why they're there. So prevention actually is your first key. Where are they getting in? Why are they there? But most people do buy poison. So say the rat comes and eats the poison. The problem with Ramic is they need to eat a lot of it in order to die. So most rodents actually only eat sublethal dosages. So they come in, they eat a little bit, they get sick. The rat goes, ooh, no, I don't want to eat that anymore. And the problem with the first generation is the rat then forms a resistance. So I don't know if you know antibiotics. So say you get sick. The doctor says, finish your course, right? If you don't, what happens? The next time you get sick, you're resistant. So the same thing with the rodents. With the Ramics, the rodent becomes resistant. So then this resistance can be passed on to the next generation of rodents, right? So then you have an army of resistant rodents. But in the meantime, the ones that are eating the lethal dosages, they take 7 to 10 days to die.
Yeah.
So in that time, other things are eating them. The owl will come in, the owl swallows the prey whole. Whatever this eats, and it dies too. This bird would have eaten 1,800 rats that year.
Wow.
So you have killed one rat, but this owl would have eaten 1,800. This is your best pest control right here. You know, even domestics.
Yeah.
Right? So I've worked at a lot of veterinary clinics in the country. A lot of them say that, you know, dogs, cats are coming in and they're being poisoned because their neighbor used rodenticide and it ate a sick rat. So unfortunately, it's called secondary poisoning. It does affect the owls, the white-tailed kites, kestrels, snakes. Anything that eats the prey whole will be affected right away, right? And usually they don't make it. Things like your hawks and your eagles, your grison, your wildcats, it does take time to bioaccumulate in their system. But what happens when they're eating it, if you eat poison, you become weak, you get sick, your immune system drops, the animal can't thermoregulate, it actually lowers reproduction success. So even though they might not die right away, you're still affecting them. And so, I mean, with a weakened immune system, they're more likely to catch a zoonotic disease, you know, so.
All right, so let's step back a bit and talk about what we have here on display in the context
we have so much.
In the context of talking about raptors and poisoning.
Yes.
What do we have here?
Okay, so when we really got into this, we were just trying to help the birds, but we realized we have to help all wildlife, right? And in order to help wildlife, we have to help people, right? Rats are a problem, right? You get a rat in your house, you don't want that rat there. Do you guys know that 2 rats make 15,000 in a year? But if you have resistant rats, you make 15,000 resistant rats, right? So we started getting into integrated pest management. And we started using a birth control for rodents. So this is a science-based, there's no secondary poisoning. It actually lowers the population by causing the male and the female to no longer be able to reproduce.
So this is this?
Yes, so I put it in package form so you guys could see. It's like a little sausage. Even if a child gets into this, a dog, a cat, they're not gonna be affected. It is just cottonseed oil. There's nothing, it's organic, there's nothing toxic about it, but it does stop reproduction. So whenever I talk to, let's say a residential house, the first thing I suggest is, like I said before, prevention. So where are the rats getting in? Why are they getting in? Is, they're a food source, maybe you can put into containers. They're holes, maybe you can seal. Then you monitor it, right? So you take care of those problems, you monitor it. If you're still seeing rodents, then the next thing would be like trapping. So, snap traps,
sticky traps.
I'm not a big fan. I've gotten a lot of owls, but if you do it in a correct way and make sure it's not just outdoors, because if a rat gets stuck to it, an owl will come in and they'll try to grab the rat and then they get stuck to it too. So you have to be careful with sticky traps.
These would be primarily like for indoors, if
indoors.
possible.
I also use them in farming fields, and I'll explain that real quick with our whole display right here. And then here's your live trap. So this is like a humane live trap. I catch them in here and I feel really bad and I let them go in the field. I know, they're so cute.
Are you displacing the problem then by letting them go
I know,
somewhere
but something's gonna eat them, right? I'm like, here you go, hawk. So these are just, methods of trapping them without poison. If you're still having a problem, that's when we get more into our chemicals. So instead of chemicals, like stuff like this is terrible. This is actually illegal here, and I keep finding it in stores. It's called Delrat. It is actually banned in the United States.
Wow.
It's a really bad product. It contaminates the soil. It contaminates groundwater.
So this is Delrat, but then at the common grocery store you'll find
I've been finding
Parrot.
it, but the Pesticide Control Board has been taking these up because they're not legal here, and it is really damaging for our wildlife and for people. This is a really bad chemical. I just brought that as an example. Don't use this. Let me put these here out of the way. So then you get into your chemical, right? So that's when we get into using the birth control. We have a little box right here. So this is a common box that pest control companies use. It does say do not touch because usually there's poison in it. I use it and I put in the birth control. So I'll go to establishments. Okay, well it opens usually, and then I will stake the sausages in, and then the rats will come and eat that, and then they stop reproducing, right? So it's a really good. The thing is, though, it is a little bit more expensive, but it's the initial investment.
All right, hold on, Sarah.
Okay.
Let's step back just a second here, right? As a host, as a homeowner, sorry.
Yep.
I'm not trying to put the rat on birth control. I'm trying to get rid of the rat altogether.
I know. This is a really hard one to explain because people are like, it doesn't die. The thing is, rats don't ever live their lifespan. The rat that you're seeing is probably never the same rat, to be honest.
All right.
So when you stop them, let's put it back. I'm a biologist, right? So I look at a population. How do you control a population? How do you control it? You hit the fertility, right? So if you want to control a population of something, you knock the fertility, right? If you put this in your house, so I actually, I used to use it around my chicken coop, right?
Yeah.
Chickens are terrible. I do this, I make a tunnel, I use a stake that's right here, if you can hand me the stake. I stake anything in, I stake the sausages in, I put this in, it gives the rat a safe place to go. They eat it because chicken coops notoriously bring in rats, right? And then after a time, after about a few weeks, you don't actually see them consuming so much. And you see less droppings and you see less damage because they're not reproducing, right? If the male eats this, he cannot reproduce the females because his sperm's immobile. If the females eat it, then obviously she can't fertilize her egg. So within a month and a half, you can knock a population down by 70%.
Wow.
So this is not something you have to use like tons and tons of it. You know, this would probably last a household, you know, a good 6 months. But after that initial month and a half, you're actually only putting one sausage out because you're just hitting the older breeders. But everything eats rats. Most people have house cats. Those things catch rats, right? So that rat gets outside, it's going to be eaten. Or, do you know what you do? You use this and then you use a snap trap or a live
So where
trap.
do we find these?
So right now, we're going to have them in Huron and Sons. Reimers is going to be carrying it. Brody's here in the city. AMC has it. Down south in Toledo, a lot of the farm stores are going to be carrying it as well. Yeah. So, and it has a shelf life of 2 years.
All right.
So a really long time. If
You
ever have any
said castor
questions,
oil?
call me.
You said castor oil?
It's cottonseed oil.
Cottonseed oil, sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
Pretty
explain
amazing.
explain that for us a bit. And how does that work from perhaps a scientific point of view?
You know what's really funny is the people who were studying menopause discovered this.
Okay.
Yeah, they were studying menopause and they were looking at how to actually speed up menopause. And the rats, they had the male and the female rats, and the females were not getting pregnant. Because they were eating this cottonseed product they were using. And so scientists and biologists were like, huh, that's weird. You know, in a laboratory setting, rats aren't breeding. Why are they not breeding? So then they looked at it and they formulated it to make it where this is the only thing the rat wants. Right? So unfortunately, like let's backtrack real fast to poison. If there's alternative food sources, so say there are grains here or you're on a farming field and there's watermelon, they'll eat the alternative source. They've done so much studies on the evolve that they will get the rats addicted to cocaine and they will choose this over the cocaine, which is pretty addictive, right? So it definitely works. I actually got a photo the other day from Toledo. A lady said that they actually ate into her bag to steal a sausage. And she said the rats are enjoying not being pregnant. And I said, yes, they do love it. So it is very palatable, but like I said, over time you'll use less and less.
All right, Sarah, while we have you here, what is this thing?
Okay, so real quick, I really want to cover barn owls. So I work a lot with the farming industry. If I can just clear this, I want to show you this real fast, if that's okay. And just recently, I was down south in Toledo, and I was talking to the farmers. And I don't know if you guys remember a year ago, they posted videos of the rats in the fields.
Yes.
Okay, so
an entire infestation of rats.
Huge problem. Chansey, they were running around, they're eating the watermelons, they're running over their boots, they're everywhere, right? So I'm in Toledo, and I'm talking to the farmers, and I'm like, hey, you know, how's it going? And they said, well, this organization gave us buckets of Ramic. And I was like, stop. Please don't use it. Because as we know now, the rodents become resistant, right, to the to the poisons. And then when they come to plant in April, May, they're going to have more rats. And these rats are going to be resistant, and they're going to have less predators. So I have formulated and created a barn owl box. This is actually a habitat box. It's easy to make, so you just get road culverts. I use these because they're double insulated, and as we know here, we have Africanized bees. They don't attach to this. So what I do is I create the box, I drill in drainage here. I use recycled wood and I make a shelf. So here you can actually see the shelf here. So the barn owls actually have somewhere to sit. Inside I do put a mat, and then I install this in fields. I install it at houses. Here's kind of a little example on the table of, we made little Lego figures of how this actually looks. So you install it to, you can just get
like an overhang like this?
Yeah, just like this, a piece of wood and overhang, and then I polystrap it. You can use the ropes that you tie stuff down to your car with. But this barn owl family will eat 8,000 rats a year. Okay, you get a family of barn owls in there, and they will come because barn owls are cavity nesters. They will nest where the food is, right? So if you have a farming field and you have rodents, you have barn owls hunting that field anyway. If you give them habitat, they will nest there. So then you have biological control. So.
All right, let's go back a bit again.
Yes.
All right, so we're using what happened in Toledo last year as, say, our case study, right?
That's our case. That's our pilot project.
All right, so has this proven effective in terms of being able to reduce the numbers in those farms?
So we're actually just starting that right now because they said that I sent Evolve down, right? So they were starting to use that. We didn't have enough product coming in, so then another organization came in and said, no, you need to poison these rats or you're going to have a bigger problem with rats. So now I'm working a lot more in Toledo with the Ministry of Agriculture. Like I'm down there with them and I'm working with these farmers. So this is just starting as a pilot project.
Gotcha.
I do have a success project at Valley of Peace Limited. You guys are aware that sugarcane industry. Within a year's time, I put up 9 barn owl boxes. They went from 12% crop loss to 2.
Wow.
In a year. They saved $8,000 a year on rat management, so pest control companies. So I'm saving them $8,000 a year, and the owls are the ones doing the job. So they're using nature to benefit their farms, right? So everything will balance if we allow it to.
Looking at an ecosystem and how that
they're
all works.
They're here for a reason. They are the best pest control. So if we put up some barn owls, so we did build a bunch of barn owl habitats. I took some down last month when I did a program down there. We have some more. These are actually going down there soon, and we will be putting these in the fields.
All right, so my final question for you this morning, Sarah.
Yeah.
How did you get into all of this?
Oh.
What drew this passion for dealing with birds and dealing with pests and what have you?
So unfortunately, the way forward in wildlife conservation too is making sure that we lessen our impact on the environment, right? So in our rehab situation, when we're getting birds in and they're dying in our hands and there's blood coming out of their nose and their mouth, and we know that it's rodenticide and it's something that is so preventable. It's just teaching people. Honestly, a lot of people I talk to, they say, I didn't realize it killed more than rats, and they really don't know. And so I think by just teaching them just a little bit, they don't want to poison wildlife. So that's really why I got passionate about this and started the Poison Free campaign. Can I show you real quick just a little setup real fast?
Go right ahead.
So we actually have our farming field right here. I just printed off this awesome little farming field. This is for farmers because I know farmers are about to plant, right? So we're looking at April, May. If you have a farming field and you want to attract raptors, right? Because raptors, both daytime hunters, so your hawks and your eagles, and then you have your nighttime hunters, so you have your owls, right? So you can have 24-hour pest control. You can, it's amazing. You literally, every 50 meters to 100 meters, you just install a perch. That's all. It can be a bamboo, it can be a pole, it can be a bush stick, it has to be 10, 15 feet in the air with a T on it. That's all you have to do. You can actually see here, we got our little owl on this one. And then you want to put your barn owl habitat. So you can actually install barn owl habitats within your field with your hunting perches, and you literally have pest control right there in your field. It's amazing. And it works. I've been putting, perches in fields. People are like, oh no, there's a raptor on it. I'm like, I know, because if they see a perch, they will come to it. And most fields clear it down and they leave this jungle around it, which is great because that's an edge. And the raptors will hunt from that, but they won't hunt within your field and perch. Most raptors sit, like the roadside hawks, they sit and then they hunt from that perch, right? So definitely a way to encourage them. But if you have any more questions, I mean, people can always call the Raptor Center. Always.
How can we get in touch with you? What's your number?
615-0226. Yeah, 615-0226. Yeah, you can call me, you can WhatsApp me, you can send me pictures of your fields, the problems that you're having. We can always come out and help as well. We're here to help.
Excellent job, Sarah. We've come to the end of our segment with you this morning. It's been great. We're going to take another commercial break, I should say. And when we come back, we'll have more Open Your Eye with Amour Café.
In the heart of the Kaya district, Calico Jacks is proving that sustainability and success can go hand in hand.
When Calico Jacks wanted to move to solar energy, the biggest difficulty for us was the finance. Belize Bank believed in our vision, and we are very happy and grateful that they gave us this opportunity for the financing.
Through the Credit Risk Abatement Facility, a partnership between Belize Bank and the CARICOM Development Fund, small and medium businesses can access financing for renewable and energy-efficient solutions with reduced collateral requirements.
Here at SCSB, we're grateful for Belize Bank to make it easier for our clients to go green. We're proud to work with businesses like Calico Jacks to help them lower their costs and their carbon footprint.
At Belize Bank, we are powering Belize's transition to renewable energy, one business at a time. Together with our partners, we're making sustainable financing accessible for all.
Belize Bank, financing a greener, stronger Belize.
Finally, a postpaid plan for 3 people. Introducing Smart Trio. Why pay for mobile service alone when you can share and save? Get unlimited national calls, text, plus 100 gigabytes of shared data. And the best part? It's only $135. That's right, as low as $45 per person. Perfect for small families, couples, or close friends. Smart Trio, 3 lines, 1 smart choice. Sign up now and you could win a Trio getaway to San Pedro for 3. Visit us at www.smart-bz.com for more information or sign up at any showroom today. Smart, bringing people together.
What happens when you step off the edge?
Too late to back out now. He said I'm ready. No, I'm not.
And land somewhere unexpected. Sometimes it breaks you open. Wild at root?
That is very bitter.
But sweet on the tongue. Where history calls out, and you answer with open arms. This isn't just a journey. It's across borders.
That was amazing!
future is calling. Belize Bank. Your future, our commitment. Our commitment.
When the job demands more, Milwaukee Power Tools are designed to handle the toughest jobs on the construction site. If it's speed, durability, and performance you need, Milwaukee is the perfect choice. For unstoppable power at an unbeatable price, make it Milwaukee. Nothing but heavy duty. Available at Benny's. Quality and savings.
The NEBL is blazing hot and it's only week 3. And we have another set of marquee matchups this weekend. On Friday night, the Belmopan Trojans try to defend the capital city against the big bad Belize City Defenders at the UB Gymnasium, 8 p.m. Then on Saturday night, the red hot Orange Walk Running Rebels takes on the sharp shooting Kaya Western Ballers at the Orange Walk Sporting Complex at 8 p.m. And in Dangriga, the Dream Ballers host their first home game against the Warriors from the North, the Corazal Spartans at 8 p.m. Giveaways at all games at the end of the first and third quarter. Plus the big halftime $5,000 cash Ministry of Tourism, Youth, Sports and Diaspora Relations Shooting Challenge. The NEBL Girls plus more. So this weekend, make it a NEBL weekend. Sponsored by the Government of Belize.
Buenas noches, Belize. Esto es el Noticiero 5 Semanal. Soy Francela Hermoso.
Esto es el Noticiero 5 Semanal. Soy Benita Queme Palacio.
Y estos son los titulares.
Esto ha sido todo por el Noticiero 5 Semanal.
Acompáñanos nuevamente el próximo jueves a las 7 p.m.
Y síguenos en nuestras redes sociales para estar al tanto de todas las noticias en español.
Welcome back. This is our final conversation, and come on in, come on in. We are here at Amour Café, well, really our TV setup of Amour Café, and I am joined by the partners, the owners of Amour Café. Joining me, beside me, is Shamra Palacio and Danielle Chacron. Now, they are the brain behind the latest coffee shop in the city. I imagine some of you guys saw it online on TikTok. That's where I saw it first. And it's really the talk of the town, the city right now. Coffee shops are a big deal. But when you get that experience, you know, that luxury experience, that feeling of homeness, that's where the real magic happens. So I'm excited to have you guys here. I want to say thank you so much for joining us all the way from Belama. Yes, that's where
the location
Amour Café is located. And we also are going to whip up some popular drinks that are trending right now over at the coffee shop. But before we get into that, I want to talk a bit about, you know, what started this venture in the first place. Tell us about what inspired Amour in the Amour Café.
So I'll let Danielle explain
All
that
right,
part.
Danielle, let's go over to you.
Well, to start off, my wife wanted to do a cafe from years ago. So we kind of had an idea of a cafe already.
Okay.
So, you know, we went to Paris. We got engaged there in the Eiffel Tower. And
Oh my God, it sounds so romantic.
yes, City of Love. You know, so we love the cafes and everything out there. The way they serve the food, the setup, the drinks, the hot coffee, everything about it. So we said, you know, let's do a cafe
inspired by what we saw out here.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we created Amour.
Yeah, I love it. But you know, one of the things I think is really cool to mention about your own personal journeys is that you guys are business people. You're business owners, you're entrepreneurs. And so I imagine you had to study the market a little bit and kind of figure out how Amour Café would stand out because, as I mentioned, coffee shops are a big deal right now. There are a lot of coffee shops popping up all over the country, especially here in Belize City. So what type of work did you guys put in, or maybe research? I don't know what took place behind the scenes to ensure that Amour Café would be successful, that you know that it would be a success?
So it took us about a year to plan the entire business. After we came back from Paris, we decided that instead of planning our wedding, we're gonna plan the business together. And I took courses to do the barista for the drinks, and then I also did baking course as well. I was always a person who loved cooking, so I've been in the kitchen, and then I just add on the baking to it and the barista class. So I did a lot of research on products, machines, and everything else. And yeah, we took about a year and a half, maybe.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
Because as I mentioned, you guys have other businesses as well. How do you go about managing your time? And I have to say kudos to you guys for choosing to establish a business instead of going and spending money on a wedding, because you know, this is another way that you can invest, really. But how did you find the time to do all of that?
Well, thankfully, my mother-in-law helps us with our daughter. So she really gives us that time to get around, and Daniel helps a lot as well, so that I could be able to study and get everything done.
Well, tell me about Amour Café. I want to know what makes Amour Café stand out. I've seen a couple photos on screen, and I'm sure we're going to show in just a moment, or maybe we have already, but what's the experience that people will get when they walk inside?
So it's very, very cozy. It's minimal aesthetic. You can not only find coffee drinks there, but you can also sit down and have a full breakfast. You can have lunch as well. We serve matcha and chai as well. And since we have a child, we kind of like focus on doing a little area at the back for the kids.
Oh, nice.
So it's cozy. We have a slide and swing so that you can take your kids outside, because we know how it is.
Yeah, you're thinking
when you're
ahead.
out with kids.
And that's definitely what makes it stand out.
Yes.
Just that alone.
Yeah.
Now I know you guys already blowing up on the scenes, and you have some popular drinks. Tell me about the types of drinks that people can get. You mentioned matcha. You mentioned chai
and coffee.
And coffee as well. What's popular right now?
So we noticed that everyone is going after the tres leche matcha and the tres leche lattes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we also have another favorite, which is the creme de la matcha as well. It's more on the creamier side. Tastes like you're drinking like a chocolate, like a vanilla chocolate liquid ice cream.
Oh my God,
like
that sounds so amazing. And it's not too early to try that either.
Yeah.
But I know that we are going to get another person on very soon to guide us through the making of this process. So Daniel, I want to go back to you and talk a bit about what this experience has been like, you know, investing in these businesses and really trying to add further opportunities for people to work even, and just having new options on the scenes for consumers.
It's been great. You know, me and my wife, we always talk about investing and businesses that, you know, people would find interesting. Like Amour is a lot of people came to Amour and they said that they kind of feel like they've gone to Paris already.
Oh, yeah.
They haven't been there, but they kind
Without
of feel
a plane
like they've
ticket.
been there.
Thank you guys for doing that for us.
So it's good for just a different experience for people, and you know, to bring something also to like Belama. There's not really, you know, a nice cafe like that in Belama. So we have like the just to go places, but this is, you could sit down, bring your kids. So it's been great. It's a new experience for sure. Cause
do you have a favorite on the menu yet?
Drinks or food?
Both.
Both.
What do you recommend?
To be honest, everything in Amour is based on stuff that family recipes, and all those drinks and stuff are my wife's recipes, and so it's like
So you like them all?
My favorite
What's your favorite?
has been always fettuccine alfredo.
Oh, you guys have fettuccine?
Yes.
Yeah, we
That's
have.
why I said you could have lunch as well there.
You know what? Under the trying to make we lift is what I'm getting from it.
Yeah.
So you love the fettuccine for food. What do you like for drink? What do you recommend? The Danielle special.
Well, the iced tea is made by me.
Okay.
It's my recipe.
Okay.
So
I will make your iced tea so special.
it's a secret.
Okay,
It's a
okay. I'll
secret.
leave you. I'll leave you.
It's very good. It's 2 different flavors.
Okay, got you. So that's what you enjoy, and of course there are other people who like kind of like the dessert type drinks as well. So we're gonna get into that. I'm going to say thank you, Danielle, for joining us and sharing a bit of what the work has been like in partnership with your wife. And so we're gonna ask now Miss Denisha to join us on set. She is the barista and one of the helpers behind the scenes over at Amour Café. So we heard Ms. Shammer say that we're going to be whipping up 2 different types of tres leches drinks. So we have matcha and we have coffee, right? Ms. Shammer, I want you to walk me through the process, and then we're going to get things going. I love the setup here, by the way. It looks so it's kind of fancy. Yeah. So where do we begin? What are we starting with first?
Let's start with the matcha.
Okay, let's go with matcha. Now I know that matcha is pretty popular right now, so I'm gonna give you guys some space. Yeah, let me go over here and give you space to work. Now I find myself being, you know, a big fan of matcha. I love matcha. But getting like authentic matcha powder, even it's so you can tell quality matcha just by even the color of the powder.
Yeah.
Do you put, you know, effort into trying to getting quality like matcha as well?
Yes. So we use the Japanese matcha. It's hormonal grade as well. It's one of the best matchas on the market.
Yeah. What would you tell someone, or what would you explain to someone that they would expect in taste if they've never had matcha before? Because I've heard people say it tastes like you're eating
dirt.
grass, like dirt,
or earthy.
Or earthy.
So ours definitely doesn't taste earthy.
Okay.
It's just like the perfect blend, and I guess sometimes it's based on the quality and the measurements as well.
Okay.
And you have to find, I guess, just the perfect blend. That's why when we did the barista course and then when we did training, we had to do different measurements to come up with the perfect blend for people, so that it doesn't taste too
earthy, too green.
Yeah.
Too green. But I'll tell you though, I even love that taste now. I'm such a matcha fan. So we have 3 different milks going on here for tres leches. How did you come up with this idea? I never really thought of tres leches. I haven't seen this as an option at any other coffee shops as well.
So like I said, we did a lot of research, and I usually go to other cafes as well, and I never saw that option, and I love tres leche cakes as well. And I forgot to mention that we also have desserts at the cafe as well.
What are some of the options you can get in desserts?
So we have chocolate cake, carrot cake, tres leche, flan, lemon cake. We have a good amount of options.
So when did you officially open?
On February 12th.
February 12th. So just about 2 weeks or so ago. What has it been like since the opening?
It's been really good. We've gotten really busy, especially on the weekends, and but we're doing good. Thank God. Yes.
And what's the opening hours, days and time?
So for now, we're opening at 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Okay. And on the weekends as well?
On Saturdays.
On Saturdays.
Yeah, but eventually in the future, we're gonna open on Sundays.
Oh, yay. Okay. All right. So this looks like. Oh, that is so pretty. I love the transition.
The layers.
Yeah, the layer.
And I do want to mention, for people who is not used to drinking matchas and first time trying it out, you do have to stir your drinks.
Okay.
So that you could taste the flavor of everything in there. Because when we serve it in layers.
Just because it looks pretty, guys. But you know, if you're not an experienced matcha
it's more
drinker,
like picture worthy.
Yeah. So what is this? What are you putting at the top there? Cold foam. Okay.
Yeah.
So why did you always want to open a coffee shop? Your husband said that was something that you always spoke about.
Yes, I always wanted to open one since like maybe 6 years ago. And I told him I wanted, initially it was going to be like a book cafe. And then eventually when we went to Paris, it kind of changed because like the cafe culture is like different over there.
Yeah.
So we just kind of switch it up a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we just put the theme with the Eiffel Tower since it represents our love and inside the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, I love that. We love over here. Okay, so now we're moving to, what are you making now? Okay, tres leche latte. Okay, so this involves actual, let me help you over here. I'm gonna be your helper. So I'll put this down here. And now we have our coffee set up over there. Now I don't remember if we actually spoke about different types of coffee options that you can get there.
Yeah.
What are the different options?
So you can get caramel, vanilla, French vanilla, and like the mocha as well, and strawberry latte as well. A strawberry espresso latte.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'll tell you this, right? I'm one of those coffee shop lovers that I want to find the perfect place that I can prop a laptop on a table and just stay there, take in the ambience and work. Is this that type of vibe that I could possibly get at Amour Café?
Yeah, we do have a lot of people who pops out their laptops and just do the work all day, literally all day in the cafe. And we find it quite cool because they actually enjoy
the ambience, really.
Yeah.
Okay. That looks so good. Now, what are the prices for the drinks as well?
So one of these are $16, and they do come with cold foam. Usually, you can add the cold foam for $2 at other places, but these specific drinks comes with the cold foam.
Okay, wonderful. Now, I know certain drinks as well. At different coffee shops, you would ask for specific type of sweeteners. Can you do that at Amour Café as well?
Yeah, once it's available, you can ask for them, and then we just add them to the drinks.
Now, I know that there are certain people that are also intolerant to milk. Is that an option there as well? Can you get lactose-free drinks as well?
Yeah. So, and then we also have almond and oat milk as well.
Perfect. So there's something for everyone. And look at these beautiful drinks on display. I am so excited to try the matcha. I know that this is just 2 options over at Amour Café, located on Belama. The exact location is Belama
69 Albert Hoy Street.
Wonderful.
Belama Phase 1.
Is it possible for us to maybe call in and say, hey, can I get an order of?
Yes, definitely.
What's the number that we can do that with?
616-3354.
That is
We
beautiful.
do offer takeout, so yes.
Do you have social media pages that we can follow?
Yes, you can follow us on Amour_Belize.
Yes.
That's our Instagram page. We currently don't have a Facebook page, but we're working on that.
All right.
Yes.
Well, this has been a really wonderful experience. I am so excited for you guys. Another venture into entrepreneurship. And I really wish you guys all the success in this. You'll definitely be seeing me stopping by at some point. I really wanted to go over the weekend, but I got too busy. But I'll definitely be stopping by and picking up my cup of matcha as well. Thank you, Denisha, for your help. And for anyone else interested in stopping in and purchasing a drink, a meal, a dessert, or just really having an experience with your family, I encourage you guys to do that as well. All right. I also heard that there's some type of theme that you have with rice and beans. Okay, so I'm getting word from our producer that we might, have been taken to France, Paris, but it's still Belizean. Yes. There's also some rice and beans on the menu as well.
And the Belizean breakfast as well. We had to add it. We had to, because of course, everyone loves their fried jack and their beans, so it's a must, and we're Belizean, so why not?
Absolutely, absolutely. See, this is how we like, man, inclusion. But thank you so much, Amour, for joining us.
Thank you as well for having us.
and we wish you guys all the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, we do got to wrap things up at this time. We want to say thank you for everyone who joined us this morning, had conversations with us online, on TikTok, on Facebook. We appreciate it. If you're celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday to you. If you'd like to give a birthday shout out, or if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can send us an email at oye@greaterbelize.com. You can also catch us on Facebook. That's Open Your Eyes BZ. Instagram for behind the scenes contents. That's OYE Belize. We even have a TikTok, girl. We go live before the show starts, and the TikTok page is openyoureyes.bz. You can even call us or text us on our OYE phone number. That's 675-2555. But please do us a favor and join us again tomorrow when you open your eyes and start your morning right. Be sure to keep your eyes, your mind, and your hearts open. Bye.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank, and Smart, bringing people together.